Hi, this is Chef Leron from the Raj JCC. Shavuot is coming up and here are a few cheesecakes for you to do at home. So we're gonna do a lighter cheesecake. So we're not using any Philadelphia cheese in this. And what you're gonna need is an 8-inch ring. You can do it a different size if you have a different size. And to close the bottom on it, you need a piece of parchment and a piece of aluminum foil. And I'm gonna place the ring on top, and then I'm gonna fold the edges of the aluminum over the parchment. And then I'm gonna start sealing it. So I'm gonna start just folding it over and starting in one corner. And I'm just kind of pushing it around and pushing it against the side of the ring. Okay, we're gonna go all the way around. This is gonna prevent it from leaking. If anything leaks, it's gonna hold the bottom. Then we're gonna be able to easily just take the cheesecake out. Okay, so we're gonna set this aside and get started. Okay, so our ring is ready with our bottom, and I've sprayed it, and then we're gonna place it onto a sheet tray. It's gonna hold it stable so that nothing happens to our cheesecake. Now the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make the crust. So for the crust, we're gonna take graham cracker crumbs, brown sugar, lemon zest, and melted butter. We're just gonna mix it all together. I'm gonna mix it all until the butter gets all mixed in with the graham cracker crumbs. And it's gonna be a little crumbly, but when you press on it, it sticks together. That's the test to see that the crust is good. So you can see that this is still crumbly, but if I grab a piece in my hand and I just squeeze it, it keeps its shape. So we're gonna take our pan and we're gonna put all that crust inside. And I'm gonna use my hand to pack it, but you can also use the bottom of a jar or a cup or anything else that you'd like to use. I'm using the back of my hand a little bit, I'm using the palm, and I wanna make sure that it's just nice and packed. Once we have it all packed, we're gonna set it aside for a minute and we're gonna work on the filling. Now this filling is a really easy filling. You can just mix it by hand, mix all the ingredients together, and that's it. Okay, so we're ready to do the filling. I have here 2 bowls. We're gonna first put the dry ingredients into the smaller bowl and whisk it all together. We're gonna set it aside and start with the wet ingredients. So we have here powdered sugar, cornstarch, and flour. Just gonna lightly whisk that all together so that we won't have clumps of flour in our mixture. Okay, once that's mixed together, we can set that aside. Now next for our mixture, our filling. We have here, this is Greek yogurt, and it's really important to use Greek yogurt. In Israel, you use a kind of cheese that's called, in direct translation, a white cheese. It's a 5 or 9% fat cheese, and it's about the same consistency as Greek yogurt. You can get it in the States, but it's not as available and it's harder to get larger quantities. So Greek yogurt is the best substitute. And this is sour cream. So it's Greek yogurt and sour cream. So it's much lighter than our normal Philadelphia cream cheesecakes. We're gonna just mix that together a little bit. And next, we're gonna add the eggs. I'm going to mix the eggs a little bit separately, just to break them up a little bit before I pour them in. And really we can just add all the rest of the ingredients now and then mix it all together. So we have eggs, vanilla extract. If you have, I would recommend using vanilla bean instead of extract. I'm using here both lemon zest and orange zest. And you can change the amount of zest and of the vanilla extract depending on how you like your flavors to be. I like it light and citrusy, so I usually use more zest. Okay, and then we're gonna add our dry ingredients. And we're just gonna mix it all together. Scraping the sides just to make sure we get everything. And once this is ready, we're gonna put it in the oven. We're gonna start at 325 degrees for 10 minutes. Then we're gonna lower the ovens to 280 degrees for about 40 more minutes. And what we wanna check for is that the center is still a little jiggly, but it's pretty set. We don't want it to be too soft in the center. Okay, now that it's nicely mixed together, just gonna give it a few more turns with a spatula just to make sure everything is mixed in from the bottom. Okay, and now we can put it into our mold. And pour it all in. Wiggle it around a little bit just to even it out, and it can go into the oven. While our cheesecake is in the oven, we're gonna make the topping, and it's just a sour cream and powdered sugar topping, and we're gonna have that ready and set aside because it is going to go onto the cake a few minutes after it gets out of the oven, and we're actually gonna put it back into the oven for 5 more minutes once it's on there. So for this topping, we're really just gonna mix some sour cream and powdered sugar. And you just wanna get it mixed until it's all incorporated. And what the powdered sugar is gonna do, it's gonna soften up and loosen up the sour cream a little bit. And of course, it's gonna sweeten it. So the reason we're gonna put it back into the oven, and we're gonna put it up at a bit of a higher temperature at 350 degrees for just 5 minutes, and that's because that's gonna help connect this sour cream top to the cheesecake so that it doesn't just come right off. We want it to be connected and be a layer of the cheesecake and not just be on top. So that's just easily mixed together. You can use a whisk or a spatula. You'll see that it gets much softer once you add the powdered sugar to it. And if your powdered sugar has a lot of clumps, for anything that you use, I would suggest sifting it before you use it. Those clumps aren't really gonna come out. Okay, so we're gonna set this aside and wait for our cheesecake to be ready. So the cake is out of the oven. Now I tested it by wiggling it, and then the whole cake jiggles together and not just the center. So now that it's out of the oven, I'm going to spread this sour cream mixture. Just mix it a little bit before I spread it. And I'm just just gonna spread it around. Then we're gonna put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 5 more minutes. Now when it's out of the oven, you're gonna want to let it cool for about 30 minutes before you put it in the refrigerator. And then if you can put the whole tray in the refrigerator, that's the best. If not, transfer it onto something flat, or you can just slide it onto the shelf of the refrigerator. Our cheesecake was refrigerated overnight, and now we're ready to unmold it and decorate it. So to unmold it, I'm gonna take off the bottom, and then I'm gonna use a spatula, and we're gonna go around the sides. So I'm gonna put it on the counter, and I'm gonna put the spatula inside all the way through. We want it to come out the other end through the crust, and then I'm just gonna roll it and keep on going until I've loosened the whole rim. Okay, now that I've loosened the whole rim, we're going to place it on the platter and just lift it up. Now I'm gonna clean off the spatula. You see I may have nicked it a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to cover it now with fruit. For the topping, we're gonna do a mixture of berries. So we're gonna use strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries, and I'm gonna add a little bit of orange zest just to give it a little bit of citrusy. And what I started was the strawberries, I cut them up into little pieces and I macerated them. So I just mixed them with 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I let it sit for 30 minutes. And that took out all the juices from the strawberries, and it dissolved the sugar, and then I got this syrup. So that's what's gonna give all the berries the shine. So we're gonna take another bowl, and I'm gonna put in all the strawberries. I'm gonna put some of the blueberries. Some blackberries, and the blackberries I'm gonna pick them by hand because I want the smaller blackberries. And some raspberries. Okay, we're just gonna mix that all together. Add a little bit of that orange zest. Get all the berries nice and coated, and we're just gonna put it on top of the cake. I'm wearing gloves, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and just place the berries on with my hand. You don't need to do this nicely. We're just gonna do a pile in the center. Then you got a very fresh cake.